A genius invents an amazing shrinking machine and then accidentally shrinks his kids along with the neighbor's kids. He's pretty stupid.
Welcome to the Walt Vault with
Michelle,
Andre,
Luis,
and me, Emily. We're a family-friendly podcast where we pick a new Disney movie each week. We watch it, share our thoughts, and then relate it to pop culture, fandoms, and anything else that pops into our heads. Enjoy!
hello and welcome to the Walt Vault, episode 113.
Stop.
Oh
my God.
1, 2, 3. Yes,
You were
this is
definitely Count Chocula.
episode 113.
What was his name?
It's
It's actually
The
from Sesame Street.
Sesame Street. He's the Count,
Count.
but you're thinking of Count Chocula from the cereal.
Yeah, I was trying to say
it's just the count.
Oh, okay.
It's ironic because I was just flossing my teeth and then it started bleeding and I was like, bruh, you want to suck your blood?
How was that ironic?
I don't know. Because he sounded like
It's
a
all,
vampire.
it's all vampire related. This week.
What about that new Twilight book? No.
We are talking about the 1989 live-action film Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, starring
Disclosure.
I was born that year.
That's the disclosure. Luis was born that year.
Luis's birth movie.
This isn't a movie. I hadn't seen this one.
Correct.
Yep. That
You
happened.
thought you had seen it.
Is that the disclosure?
Yeah.
So
Because
would
I
you like
picked
to-
this movie for a nostalgia factor. Hadn't seen it. I saw the third one. And then after this movie was over, like I very was intently watching it the whole time, like, oh, maybe I'm going to remember something. Like, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then the movie was over, and I looked at Andre. I was like, babe, that was not it. Like, that was not the movie. And then we watched a trailer for the third one, and I was like, yep, that was it. And I was
the one.
freaking out. I was like, that's the one. Not to say that this movie wasn't good, because it was, but it was not the one I meant for us to watch. But it's still okay.
She wanted the nostalgia of Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
Yeah, Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
But
Well, go ahead, Michelle, and give us your first impression since you disclaimed.
Does this mean that none of us had seen this? Had you seen this?
yeah,
Okay, so only
Oh.
Andre had seen it then. It was still good. It was. I feel like I'm going to be negative about it because it wasn't the one I wanted. You know what I mean? It was good. I really liked it. But I think my expectations were all out of whack because I was like, this isn't it. You know what I mean? But was it still good? Yes. But was the third one better? Yes.
in your memory.
in your child memory?
Yes, in my child memory. It might not be better. I don't know. But I still really, really like this one. It has a good storyline. It's fun. It kind of reminds me, like, similarities to Jumanji, where just, like, weird stuff is happening, you know, in, like, a kid mind or how when they're small or whatever. It's still really fun. Like, it holds up for an 89 movie. Still pretty good.
Yeah.
So I liked it. Luis, first impression.
I liked it a lot, actually. It's pretty cool.
I like the pause where you had to think
Yeah.
about.
He
saying that
he
you
was, like,
liked it.
smiling, though, on the
Luis is
pause.
thinking
He was like,
pause.
Is that a smile? I don't know.
I think so.
He's
the
still doing it.
animation was pretty cool.
There was no animation, but
There
okay.
was animation in the very beginning.
Oh,
Yeah.
good God!
That
Oh, I
lasted a
forgot.
long
Reminded
time.
me of Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
We were saying like an amalgamation of like Schoolhouse Rock and Roger Rabbit, like how that
Mm.
starts.
Right. Yeah.
So like an Acme, not Acme.
Yes, it was
what is
very
that,
Looney
Warner Brothers,
Tunes.
Looney Tunes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm into it. Emily, first impression?
I liked it. I was very surprised. I was not expecting to enjoy it at all, and I was thoroughly entertained the entire time. There's obviously issues, but then there were also things that I thought were going to be issues that were not.
Oh,
So-
interesting.
Boom.
I only had like one issue with this movie, and it wasn't the one that I wanted. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We'll talk about my issues later. Andre, first impression.
I like this movie a lot. Now, I think I kind of might have been conflating all three of the Honey, I Shrunk movies in my mind as well, because this one, it was moving a lot slower to me than I remembered it going at first. Once the kids are shrunk, then the movie moves along at the pace that I wanted to. But I think in the beginning, like 20 minutes, it was like, Okay, let's get to it, man. Come on, let's go. I get it. You guys are fighting, whatever. Let's make it happen. But other than that, I like this movie a lot. The special effects are all very cute now in 2020, renewed from
for
1989. So them walking through the giant grass is all really fun. And
I actually liked it though.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's where I was surprised at how much I
how
enjoyed it.
How much it held up.
Because it wasn't CGI. Like I enjoyed
was
this movie
good.
with realistic sets,
Mhm.
well, like their version of realistic sets, better than a lot of like late 90s, early 2000s CG.
Right,
Like
absolutely.
I liked it better than
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Because it was like, oh, like he's literally grabbing on to like this funky tree leaf thing. That
I liked it.
That's probably what it would look like.
It made it feel like more real.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I liked
It's like
it.
the antithesis of Smart House, you know?
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy we all liked it. I think I did good at picking out movies then.
That's right.
Yeah, even though this wasn't the one I
Yeah,
wanted.
your movie mayhem has been less mayhemy than I was expecting.
Just some quick facts.
Do you agree with that statement, Luis? I did it.
Partly.
I'll take it.
Freaky Friday. Well, that's a toss-up, but I like.
You
Princess
said you liked it.
Diaries.
It was good. Get out of here.
Yeah, that one
He
was
liked
good.
He
Princess
had a long
Diaries
day.
more.
You just tell him to shush.
All right. So, first of all, this movie franchise as a
Mhm.
whole, the shrinking Honey We whatever shrunk whoever. So what is it? Honey We Shrunk the Kids.
Honey, I
Honey We
Shrunk the
Blew
Kids.
Up the Kid.
Honey, we blew up the kid, or I blew up the kid.
Honey,
it's always
I Blew
it's
Up
always
the Kid.
I.
And
It's
Honey,
always Rick Moranis' fault.
and then it's Honey
We Shrunk Ourselves.
ourselves, although he really shrunk them.
Correct.
So, you know. I mean, obviously this was like a very popular movie franchise because at Tomorrowland in Disneyland they had Honey We Shrunk the audience,
Mhm.
which was my all-time favorite thing to do in Tomorrowland. Had to do it every single time we went. I literally was obsessed with it.
Yes.
So that's why I really do like these movies so much. But it's interesting that I really don't remember this one. Maybe I've seen it. I don't know.
Possibly.
I don't know, man, but because maybe I just got fixated on the newer ones that were like 90s because I was born then.
I think
don't know.
I've seen this movie. Like I definitely didn't go to the theater to see this. I was
Not born.
unborn by 2 years. But but I think I saw this movie on the Disney Channel, and I think they played all three of them
Probably
pretty regularly on the Disney Channel. Because
Probably.
also, in addition to the three movies, there's also a Honey I Shrunk the Kids TV series.
Yeah.
That lasted for like a season or two or something
Yeah.
like that. So
Fun stuff.
yeah,
dude.
they were playing this a lot, but I think I definitely caught all three, whereas maybe you only caught
Maybe I only
second
caught two,
Mhm.
or those are the ones I remembered, anyways. You know.
right.
Also, Rick Moranis, just he is funny.
Yeah, have you ever really seen him in?
I think
anything
I've only
except
seen
for
him
this?
in these.
He's in these, and he's in Ghostbusters. And
Didn't you make me watch Ghostbusters?
I don't think I made you watch.
I think I only saw
Ghostbusters
the
quite
newer
yet.
ones,
What do you
And
mean the newer ones?
like the new
There's-
Ghostbusters
Like with the
remake.
girls?
yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
With the
I haven't seen
gals.
that one.
It was all right. And Rick Moranis himself, he kind of like retired from acting in, let's see where his last thing was. Well, I guess the early 2000s, 2007, 2008, something like that. And he's been absent from stuff for a long time. He actually just did an episode of The Goldbergs in 2018.
Hmm.
And of course, now he is in pre-production for Shrunk, which is the Honey I Shrunk the Kids reboot sequel thing that's supposed to be coming out relatively soon.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm.
Relatively soon. You mean in when COVID's gone?
Well, yeah.
So 5 years. from
Announced
now.
pre-COVID, so who knows when it's coming out.
BC.
BC.
DC?
Before Corona.
Oh,
Oh, now we got to say AC after Corona.
After Corona. This movie was directed by Joe Johnston, and this was his first movie that he ever directed. You'll know Joe Johnston because he directed Captain America: The First Avenger,
Hmm.
and there was another big one. He directed Jurassic Park 3 and Jumanji.
The new one or
Huh?
the old one?
The old one.
Okay, that makes sense because didn't I just
95
say
one.
this kind of felt a little bit like
Right.
Jumanji-esque?
And in addition to all of that, so Joe Johnston, he wasn't supposed to be the director of this movie. It was a guy named Stuart Gordon who wrote the story. But Stuart Gordon got sick at like the last minute. So they pulled in Joe Johnston, and he was known for his special effects work. He worked on all three Star Wars and all three Indiana Jones movies prior.
See, I
So
said
Honey,
it
I Shrunk
felt.
the Kids.
I kept thinking to myself that it felt Indiana Jonesy in the world, like the
Right,
world
yes.
piece of it.
Yeah, what they built with the backyard and everywhere else the kids go in this movie
Yeah.
is very
All right.
It's very
I can,
cool
I
like
can
that.
see that. That makes a lot of sense.
yes.
Well, good, because I think that he probably brought what this movie needed to be successful. Then.
Exactly. Yeah. This launched his directorial career.
All right. Well, let's get into this plot. Babe, I'm going to let you push us through to when they shrink because like you said, the first 20 minutes almost felt like 30 minutes was pretty slow.
It's just set up and there's like a lot of characters in
lot
this.
of
Like a
setup.
lot more than I remembered or was expecting, right? So we've got mom and dad. Okay, mom's like a real estate agent and dad is the scientist. He's built this machine. He can't really get it to work, but he has a presentation on it like today or tomorrow or something
shrink
like
ray.
that. His shrink ray. And he's trying to get it to work. It's not really working, but he has his presentation, so he's trying to prepare for that. In that process, he's kind of ignoring the kids. And also, he and mom had some big fight over his career endeavors and all this random crap that he's been inventing.
Lack of productivity
Yes.
in the house and his work.
Exactly.
And just kind of
the whole
all over
house
the
is
place.
always a mess, and she, has a real job or whatever. so
Yeah.
she's like mad at him. The kids, Amy is the older teenage daughter. She's trying to get a date to the dance that's coming up this weekend. And Nick is her younger brother. He
a little nerd
he
boy.
really looks
So
up to his
cute.
dad. He looks just like him. He wears glasses like him. He invents things. He made a miniature shrink ray, just like his dad's. He's just like him. And then in addition to that entire family, that's the Zelinskys. Right next door is the Thompsons. And we got Big Russ, who's this fishing guy. He played football in high school.
The dad?
Yes, the
Yeah.
dad.
He's crazy, dude.
He's annoying. and then his mom, his wife, Mae Thompson. She's there. There's not too much going on with her character
No,
really,
she's a mom.
except that she's pushing for Big Russ to get along with his kids. So he's got Russell number 1, or Russell Jr. or whatever. He's the teenager. He doesn't really care about going fishing or playing football. He quit the team. He didn't want to disappoint his dad, so he didn't tell him. And then there's Ronald, who reminds me a lot of Ron from Harry Potter for some reason.
he's a little turd.
Yes, he's the little redhead turd who
who wants to be paid attention. He wants all dad's attention, and dad does not care to give him attention.
correct.
So
yes.
it's just sad.
He's
because
building traps in the backyard, and he's like, I'm protecting us from the intruders or whatever, and he shoots his dad in the face with an arrow.
which was funny.
Yeah,
I
so
enjoyed
that was funny.
There was a lot of very funny physical humor in this movie.
Yes. So that's the all of the characters, and them together. They're kind of intertwining their days. So dad goes off. He goes to give his presentation after thinking that the machine is not working. He tried it out on an apple. It blew up the apple. He's like, well, I'm just going to go pitch them the theory, I guess, since I can't actually show them the real thing. He leaves the kids in charge of cleaning the house before mom gets home, because if this house ain't clean, mom is divorcing me. Okay, we gotta get this together.
I was like, dude, get it together. You're making your kids do your dirty work.
So Amy starts like tidying up inside the house, and Nick is tasked with mowing the lawn outside. And the lawn is the lawnmower is teched out, because like all of the gadgets in the house are teched out.
Yeah.
Rick Moranis has set up a smart home in 1989. Basically, he's got like a pager that'll tell him when he's in the attic when breakfast is ready, and he has like a fax machine that he can text his kids downstairs saying like, I'm coming down in just a minute or whatever. And the lawnmower is hooked up to be a remote control. And Nick, he tries to pawn this off on some other neighbor kid. He's like, hey, man, you want to come mow the lawn for me? I don't know what he promises him, but he says he can't do it now, but he'll come do it later.
He straight up like
And he swindles that poor
swindles
kid.
that dude.
Yes.
Like, look at this cool lawnmower. You get to control it.
Right, it's
Isn't it
remote
fun?
control.
I'll let you do it.
I'll let you do half of it.
half of it.
And then
if
he's
you-
like, no, let me do it. He's like, I'll let you do the whole thing if you throw in a cookie. So he's getting a cookie.
He's
Dude,
doing
and
this
a
little
cookie.
kid loves
he's a swindler
cookies.
Nick
for sure,
is-
man.
Oh, and stop.
Nick has got cookie stashes.
There's a very important piece of this. It's not important, but it's important to me. I was very excited. Amy's trying to get the kid breakfast, right? And it wasn't.
It was burnt.
She's a teenager, not doing
Right.
very well, but she's trying. You
She's
can
like
tell.
what, 14, 15 maybe.
So
Yeah.
she gives the little brother like this burnt toast or whatever, and he's like, I don't eat any of that waste. And when he
Toxic waste.
toxic
yeah.
waste, and when she turns around, he pulls a box of oatmeal cream pies out.
Bruh,
and
I was excited.
I think I've told this story before, but I remember,
It's still good.
I remember Andre from my freshman year of high school constantly eating oatmeal cream pies. So when they pulled this out,
They were
I
good.
was like, oh my God, it's
I
Andre.
was like, nice.
And that's all he ate.
Yeah. I mean, that's not all I ate. I ate
No,
other
the
things.
kid. That's
Oh,
what the
oh,
kid
oh.
ate.
Yeah,
Oh, for sure, this kid only ate
Yeah,
oatmeal
Nick
cream
has
pies.
been surviving on oatmeal cream pies
I
for
wish
as
I
long as
could
his parents have
survive
been
on
fighting, I
oatmeal
guess.
cream pies. Oh.
So yeah, that's what's happening at the Selinsky house. They're cleaning up and stuff like that. And over at the Thompson house, Big Russ is getting ready to go on a fishing trip with the boys. And Russell Jr., he's like, I don't care about that. I'm not helping with packing or loading or any of the stuff like that. And then Ron is all gung ho and he's excited about it.
I think the best part is that both families think that the other family is
It's
so
weird. They keep looking in their windows like, what a weird family.
The Thompsons are weirder.
Weird.
The Thompsons
And
are weirder.
They look back and forth and they are catching each other doing weird stuff.
Sure.
But like, they don't see that they're weird, which is
Yeah.
hilarious. I love
It is.
Exactly. So I think at one point, Ron is playing in the yard. He has a baseball and a baseball bat, and his dad won't play with him because he's loading up the truck for the fishing trip.
Also, his dad only cares about football.
Yes, Big Russ is pretty narrow-minded, I would say. So Ron's playing by himself with the baseball, and he loads up the ball and he hits it with the bat, and it flies directly through the window of the Selinsky
Yeah, because
attic.
he freaking aimed it right at it,
Yeah.
and he was trying to be like, I don't know, it could happen to anyone. I don't know.
I don't know what happened. So Russell Jr., he sees this happen, and he has been like staring at Amy through the window, like, oh my God, look at her go, she's dancing in there, and it's pretty hot. And so he takes Ron over to them so that he can apologize and get the ball back.
Yeah.
Which is like, kind of good Big Brother stuff,
Yeah.
right? He grabs him and takes him over there. They knock on the door. They go like, hey, we did the thing with the ball. Can we go up there and get it? And meanwhile, the ball has smashed through the window and landed itself onto the shrink ray. It smashed up a bunch of the stuff, and the shrink ray is just going off now, and it's working.
Yeah,
It's shrinking.
Shrunk 2 couches.
It shrunk a
or what?
couch
Yeah,
and
his
a, and, a,
couches.
and a big chair. And it's just going and it's shrinking things all over the room or whatever.
Kind of freaky, honestly.
Yes. So I think Nick takes Ron up to the attic to go get the ball, and as soon as they walk in, boom, they get shrunk. And Amy and Russ, they're talking, they're vibing, whatever. They're making Google eyes at each other, and then they go like, "Where are our little brothers? Let's go up there and check." So they go up there, they walk through the door, and they're immediately shrunk as well. And now the movie
Now the movie's
really
good.
really kicks off. Yes. So they're shrunken, and mom and dad are not home, and then the Thompson parents are next door. They're packing stuff up. They're oblivious to where their kids are, and so it takes quite some time before anybody realizes that the kids are missing at all.
Oh, for sure. I mean, what is this? The 80s? They're like, yeah, kids doing the thing. They're at the mall. They're somewhere, right?
Yes.
I think the best part of this too is that I was expecting these kids to be like maybe an inch or two tall,
Oh, no.
and they're like well, maybe
They're-
not microscopic.
They're a
but
quarter
they're-
of an inch, they
They are
said.
so small.
Yeah.
They're
I
a
think
quarter of an inch.
he
They're
said
like,
a quarter of an inch, but even then, I mean, they're crazy small.
your
They're-
fingernail is like almost an inch.
there's
so,
a nail on the floor of the attic.
and it's huge to
And
them.
it's gigantic to them. Like, they have to, like, hop over it using both hands like it's a fence or whatever,
Yeah.
I appreciate that because that definitely takes the stakes up like infinitesimally.
Yes.
Like in comparison to what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So
So-
I like that.
The kids are panicking in the attic, basically. They're like, what do we do? What's happening? Oh, my God, the couch is small, too. And meanwhile, Wayne Zelinsky, he comes home. So he had been at his conference.
Didn't go good.
He was giving his Hank Pym Ant-Man speech. He's like, we're going to be able to shrink things. And
For sure.
it's going to be great.
I thought of that too. It's funny that you say that.
Yeah, he gives his presentation, and he basically, like, walks the room. Everybody's like, whatever, dude. This is stupid. You're nuts. This is crazy. And basically only one scientist, like, has his back. So he goes home. He's pretty dejected. He walks in. He kind of half-heartedly yells for the kids, like, where y'all at? And
He
he's-
honestly is so absorbed in what he's doing. I don't want to say
he's
he's
a bad Well, that's kind of being a bad dad.
But that's kind of back then. They kind of let their kids just roam and do whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was
Don't
a
you
slightly
think?
different time where you could, you'd let your under 10 kids
And they're
just
like,
ride around
they're
the
probably
entire
at the
neighborhood.
mall. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. They think about being at the mall or at a friend's house, something like
Yeah.
that. And I remember being young and just, going out and about on
I was
my
just
Oh,
Saturdays
no.
or whatever.
I was so sequestered at all times that I literally that's just foreign to me.
Ah, okay.
I
Yeah.
was lock and key.
I had some child independence,
Not me.
Yeah, I would ride my bike down the street.
Dude, I'd be riding my bike down all the way to the cuts to Belico
Right.
when I lived in Livingston. That's like 5-6 miles away.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, but you were the sixth kid, so I mean,
And they were like, if he dies, it's
We
fine.
did okay with some of these other ones. This is all right. So
I'm
he's
just kidding, Lou. You're the most important kid. He's all dejected over there. I'm so sorry.
Not really. I mean, if you really know my family structure, everything Emily's saying is the truth.
So he's pretty oblivious, and he's in his own head because he's mad that this shrinking ray isn't taking off, and his marriage is failing him at the moment. So he's running up to the attic. He's looking around. He doesn't see the kids anywhere, but then he sees the shrink ray, and he's mad. He's like, "Oh, this is a stupid machine!" So he starts smacking up the
is
shrink ray
With the baseball
Hilarious.
bat.
the baseball bat, which
That
is
part
Which
made
is
me
not
laugh
even
so
his.
hard.
yeah. So he goes a little ballistic there for a second. He hulks
I
out.
didn't even realize that was the other kid's baseball.
Yes.
That he brought up. Oh my god,
Mhm.
that's funny.
Yeah, the baseball bat moves around a couple of times, I think.
Yeah.
So Ron brings it up initially. They get shrunk. He leaves it up there. Then Wayne smashes up the shrink ray, and then I think he takes it down with him a little bit later.
Yeah.
But right now he smashes up the machine, and then he kind of gets a clear head, and he's like, "Oh man, I made a mess." He starts sweeping up.
Yeah, but you forget as he's beating up this machine, it is a war zone for the shrunken kids. Okay,
That's right.
there is debris literally coming at them like bombs,
There's like
and they're
nails
just
and
like
screws.
"Ah, Rigoride for it!" And
Yeah.
this is where all the special effects stuff like really comes into play at this
They
point.
got the giant broom. They got the dust, wind,
Oh,
storm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all happening, and it's all bad for the kids at this
One
moment.
thing that I like that was kind of a recurring theme though from this point on is the dog knows that they're small.
Right.
Yeah.
The dog
So-
can hear them, and I think he can smell them or
Yeah,
something
maybe.
You can
too.
hear 'em.
Like and I mean that makes sense because of pitches, right?
Mhm.
Like dogs can hear super high pitched things.
Yes.
But it's cute because the dog is like trying to kind of defend them or like at least get Wayne to like
Yeah.
figure
Yeah,
out.
I think
what
I
he's
think the dog
doing.
is what leads him up to the attic in the first place because he's barking up a storm. And so Wayne's he's sweeping up his mess, and he sweeps up the kids into the trash, and he takes the trash out. Oh, also at this point he tries to sit on his thinking couch, and it's gone. It's not there. He's like, "What
I
happened to
love
my
that he has a
couch?"
thinking couch. I'm not even.
Well, then it's funny because I keep thinking when he looks out the window and he realizes the window's broken, and I keep thinking he's like thinking like if somebody broke in and took his
Stole
couch,
his couch.
with that tiny hole in the window. With my
We're
couch.
trying too hard trying to steal a couch from the third floor,
Yeah,
second
yeah,
floor.
exactly. The third floor. Somebody came into my house, stole my couch, misplaced my kids, and
Misplaced my kids.
turned on my shrinking ray. So he
How dare they do all that?
he takes the trash all the way out because it's trash day, by the way. Takes it all the way out to the very back of the backyard, over the fence, and so the kids are in there, all tiny and shrunken, and basically like 5 miles away from their house at this
No,
point.
I think at one point I think the little kid says it's like equal to 8 miles for them.
No, I think he said
Uh,
like
he-
3.3.
yeah, I wrote it
Okay,
down.
but
He
then
says
when
3.2.
later in the movie the dad was like that's like 13 miles for them.
Oh.
So I think that's why they had miscalculated like when they were going to get back or whatever.
Okay.
Plus, I'd rather believe a 38-year-old man than a 7-year-old kid. So
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like he
guess
was
so.
younger than 7.
Right. He seemed pretty young. But we did some math
Yeah,
on,
we did.
on Nick because he appears in the next movie, Honey, We Blew Up the
And
Kids.
he looks like a
He
full-blown
looks way older.
teenager.
He looks like a 16, 17-year-old
Did
Oh.
we
kid
say
in
he's
that
11
movie.
in this movie?
So he's 11 when he was shooting this movie,
Yeah.
and he's 14 in the next movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so, yeah, he was just a small kid and then
He's
a really big kid.
He's very small in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is
Or
itty
maybe it's
bitty.
just because, the girl is really tall.
Right, yeah.
like, 'cause
that's
she's
true,
like
too.
kind of towers
She
over
looks
the other
older, honestly, though, too.
Yeah, I didn't look up to her age.
kid. Am I wrong in saying that she's like bigger than Russ? The
Yeah,
other
I think
kid?
she's definitely taller than
Mhm.
Russ. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. She was born in 71, and this came out in 89. So she's, what, 19? Is that what that is? Yeah. Okay.
So pretty much the rest of the movie is them navigating the backyard.
Yes. It's
which
So
is hilarious
good.
because in my mind, like, how much could they possibly do in a backyard? And they, like...
They do it all.
They do it all. They, like, navigate through some, like, kind of treacherous areas.
Yeah. There's some pretty cool stuff that happens. At one point, they
Like
climb...
everything that happens is cool.
Yeah, they climb up a flower to get a better vantage point of where they are in the backyard, and a bee comes and tries to
No,
start
it's because he
pollinating.
falls in the pollen.
Right,
from
yeah,
the
Nick falls in the
flower.
pollen. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh no, your allergies!" And he's like, "No, it's okay. I'm too small. The pollen's too big to fit in my nose. It's not working." And then he sneezes anyway.
I feel like that doesn't make any sense, but okay. Like,
I mean, I guess if pollen is a little tiny dust,
You're
and
Dude,
then-
they're
little
so
tiny.
You
tiny
become
if
tiny.
they fit in the little pollen part of the flower.
yeah,
Like that, like really
Or
puts
in
it
the
in
Lego.
perspective.
yeah,
Yeah, the
like
Lego
that's
cracks
right.
me up.
Yeah, holy
But
moly, they're tiny.
I love how everything looks. Like the grass looks cool. There's even like a muddy water river, and they're like, ew. And every time they show like a dead bug, I'm like,
yeah,
"Bleh."
yeah, the little
Blip,
dead
blip,
bug
blip, blip.
just floating along the river.
yeah.
Disgusting.
They were like,
Right.
"What's a river doing here?" Like, dude, we're so small. This could be dog pee, man. We don't even know.
Uh-huh.
I was
Probably
like, oh, man,
was.
how
Could
many
be a raindrop.
how many rivers of dog pee has Dougie
Ew.
God,
So gross.
created?
Like dead fly floating in it.
Yeah. Gross.
Nasty.
So they're making their way through the backyard. They climb the flower. They get all
On a bee.
pollinated, and then a bee comes.
They get all pollinated.
It was a swarm of bees actually.
It
but
was
then,
terrifying.
But then one bee comes and
I literally was like, this is giving me so much anxiety.
it scoops up Nick and Russell. So they get completely separated from Amy and Ron. And the bee flies them all over the backyard, like or whatever. And at this point, Wayne, what's his name? Rick Moranis. He has realized that the kids are shrunken, and that he has to look for
figures
them.
it out.
Yeah, he figures out
He
that,
looks at the baseball bat, and he's like, wait, the other kids are missing too.
and he finds the couch.
And then he finds the couch, and he looks at the shrink ray, and he's like, it works. Like,
Yes.
they're shrunken. And you think he'd be a little bit more worried? Like, he runs out there, right, to, like, and he, like, figures out he threw them away, because he was like, where are
in the
they?
trash.
And he sees the broom, and he's like, oh. And then he goes to the garbage,
kids.
and he's so funny. He has this magnifying glass. He sees, like, the slit in the garbage where they
Yes.
opened it. So he's like, I know they're here, right?
And then he does the funniest
And then
way to get across the the backyard.
So he's so stupid.
So he like
so
climbs on the fence
stupid.
and is just like hanging off the fence, trying to shimmy his
'Cause
way
he doesn't
across.
want to squish.
He doesn't want to step on the
him.
grass because he might just squish and kill his little children and never find their tiny little itty bitty bodies,
That's disgusting.
So he's doing that. The Thompsons are next door. They're like, "What is happening over here
He's
with
kinda
Wayne?"
calm about this whole thing though. Like,
is.
I would be losing my SHIT.
Yeah, I think I'd be panicking
He's like, I
too.
just gotta find him and blow him back up.
You know
It's
what
fine."
I would be doing? I'd be doing crazy stuff like turning the shrink ray around in the attic, shooting it out the window, and going like and making everything big in the backyard. My kids are in here somewhere.
That is some Ant-Man stuff,
gigantic forest of grass in there, and just size them all up. No, nobody else wanted.
man. No,
Nobody
that's
else did
not.
Supersize
That's
me.
not what I would have done at
Supersize me.
all.
I don't know. I just
Anyways,
yeah. He was definitely way too calm about it.
I
Well,
guess
he
so.
is. He's way too calm. And then, like, as he's doing this, okay, so the other two kids fall off the bee. They're separated, right? And then Dad makes, like, some freaking weird contraption to be able to float above the grass to, like, search for them.
He is balancing his
his-
weight with a gigantic TV, and he's just like floating over the grass with his magnifying
He
glass
is
helmet.
so weird.
Which is at first I thought it was like pretty ingenious. I
Uh-huh.
was like, okay, cool. But then if you really think about it, he's gonna go in one big circle.
Yeah, he's just going in circles.
He's not going to move. I mean, the circle doesn't move.
He can't
Right.
So
find
he's
him.
getting the diameter
You can't see anywhere inside or
circumference?
outside of his
Yeah,
own
the-
circumference.
circumference, but he's not getting anywhere else. So like, if they're in the middle of that circle, like,
Mhm. Which they
okay.
might have been. He probably should have just started at the back of the backyard.
Yeah.
and worked his way forward.
Exactly. Yes.
Exactly, but he didn't. And then as he's doing this, he turns on the sprinkler on accident. A way to
Yes.
drown your freaking kids,
So
dude.
this is where
That
the movie
was
gets really cool
another
for me.
war zone
It
moment.
gets so intense
When
right
the
here.
sprinkler rain is bombing them
And they
as they're
make
running
the
through the
sounds
grass.
too, like,
Yeah, it looks really cool, and all the gigantic water drops. It looks like if one of those hits them, it will blast them in the face, hit their ground, they'll break their necks, and the back. It's
sure.
just
It
all
looks
bad
like-
if you get hit with one
like
of these.
Warzone.
Yeah, it reminded me of A Bug's Life when it's raining.
Yes.
And all the ants are like running away. It's the same like thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of A Bug's Life,
This
I
movie's
think
kind of
it's
similar.
important to bring up what happens next.
Oh, what? Anthony?
Anthony!
We're calling
So-
him Anthony.
No, for sure. So there is an ants as a part of this movie, and I always have a problem with big things that are disgusting in the first place. Like, I'm
Sure.
sorry, I'm not happy with ants. Like, didn't have an ant farm as a kid. It's gross. So the fact you knew it was coming when the ant scene happened, that like they were gonna end up befriending this ant.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. So they're like eating one of his oatmeal pies that it's like in the yard.
They find
right?
it. They find it in the backyard.
In a cookie.
And
Wait, so it was an oatmeal pie, or I thought it was a cookie?
it was an oatmeal pie cookie.
It was oatmeal pie cookie.
Yeah, you know the
Cool.
the sandwich cookies. So they find this, and I wanna state that, like, okay, so they spent their morning cleaning, and then Wayne comes home at around noon, and then between noon and nighttime is when they're shrunken or whatever. They find this cookie. It's still broad daylight. They've only been shrunken for like 2 to 4 hours tops. I
And
would
they're like,
say.
yo, I'm hungry.
Oh my God, food! I can't believe it. We finally found food we can eat. Oh my goodness! And then they start just ravishly grabbing at this cookie, like, oh my, like they haven't eaten in 6 days. Like, what are you guys doing?
Maybe they're more hungry because they're itty bitty.
Or they're hungry because their breakfast was burnt and they haven't eaten this morning.
Yes.
Oh.
I guess
All
so.
I'm saying is that when you look at the size of that cookie and the size of them,
It's real
it's
perspective.
forever.
yeah,
That's forever cookie.
yeah, that cookie could have fed them for years.
Now I know how
guess.
bugs feel when they see food. They're like, yes.
So
Jackpot.
an ant comes up and tries to fight them for their cookie, and they end up befriending the ant. We don't need to talk about it more than that because it's gross.
What them like riding it and be like, come on, little doggy. They're like trying to like rope it.
They do. They like saddle him.
Yeah,
and,
they put a saddle on and everything.
and
It's kinda
ride
nuts.
him into the sunset, and then they all of a sudden realize that they're using him as like a pack mule, and
Right.
then they
They
like
feel
wise
bad.
up and say, "Oh,
Like,
you can
let him
leave."
go.
Luis was like, "I want to let him leave."
The best part is that who's the youngest kid's name?
Nick.
No,
No.
Ron.
Ron. He like loves this ant. He's like, he doesn't know what's good for him. Come on,
He was
Get out of here.
white fanging him.
Yes.
Like,
like go,
Go away.
go on and get.
Go get out of here.
Come on, old yeller.
it's too much.
I have a fact about the ant, in that apparently the studio at the time, they were like really worried about like some of these practical effects that they were doing. They wanted the ant to look like E.T. because they thought that a realistic looking ant would look too scary for children or whatever. So they were like, can we make it look like E.T. or whatever? And Joe Johnson was like, no.
Ron, what do you mean make it look like
Like they
E.T.?
wanted it to look cartoonish.
They wanted it to look a little bit more cartoony than like
Oh.
a real ant, gigantic. I
No,
guess.
this was realistic for the time period.
Sure.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Like,
It had
was-
like the hairs on his face and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
it was
little
creepy.
pincers.
Yes. So they had to like actually make the puppet and show it physically to the executives before they were like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that'll work. But they
my
really
gosh.
were not happy with the ant design.
Oh, I liked it.
Well, I
Yes.
don't think it's a spoiler since this movie was, out in '89. That at some point the ant dies, and it's the second time in a row that Disney and or a Disney-owned property has made me feel something about a dead ant.
Yeah, they just
Okay.
keep
Yeah,
killing
and
his
we
ants,
really
man.
gotta
This isn't a cute cartoony ant like Flick in A Bug's Life. This
No.
is like realistic,
Right.
freaking
And
Anthony
Yeah.
ants.
We gotta get into this beforehand because I thought things were going good. Okay, Ant was free but still wanted to follow them. They're friends. They
BFF.
find a Lego. Great, it's somewhere to sleep. Okay, they
Yep.
sleep in the little circular parts, the connecting thingies of the
the
Lego.
Lego. Mhm.
The two others kissed because they were like, I didn't thought you noticed me because I was popular. And he was like, I was too popular to notice you.
Oh, it's so funny at this point because
Was,
They share a kiss that was not Disney.
yeah,
That
so,
was steamy.
So mom,
There was some steamy moments.
So mom has come home at this point, and she realizes that the kids are missing. She tries calling the police. That her and Wayne go through a whole thing, and he explains that the kids are shrunken, and so they start
She's
looking for
also
him.
like,
Whatever.
it works.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
like,
She's
y'all
pretty
still ain't
excited.
worried about your kids.
But at one point she's like, wait,
Perspective.
she got shrunk with
A boy.
Russell next door. Oh know. They could be doing anything out there. And I was like, they're shrunken. They're shrunken and terrified in the
they were
backyard.
hardcore
You
making
think that
out.
you think that they're having sexy times or whatever out there?
They
I
for
don't-
sure were.
I was like, there was no way that there is anything going on between them. And the next scene, they cut to them deeply tonguing each other in the backyard. Like, oh my God.
Hey, but hold on. To be fair, that kid's a good kid, man.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
a really
They
good
tongue
kid.
in on like day
They're both
one.
they're both
Luis.
good kids, but yeah, they were.
How you gonna feel when
I looked
that's
at Luis
Adeline?
and was like, oh my.
Yeah.
Like that was not like a Disney kiss now is just
I got.
right. No, this was like
Blah, blah, blah.
Get in there.
Wait, babe, do your thing.
That's what was going on in
more
Russell's
the
mouth.
face than it is the noise.
I love you.
So yes,
It was intense. Yeah.
So-
It's
All-
okay because
Scene.
okay, and here's my actual qualm with the movie. They're making out, and a freaking scorpion just comes along.
yes. So
Dude.
Okay.
of all
They
the
couldn't have
creatures that
found
they could have,
it couldn't have been like a rat. That would have been more realistic
a
than
rat would have been nuts.
a
That would have been like fighting
scorpion?
Godzilla.
a scorpion.
No, I agree. Luis and I looked at each other and were like, "Why is there a scorpion in their backyard? Like that doesn't really make sense."
I didn't get why they chose
or even
a
just
scorpion.
a bigger bug.
Yeah, it could have
Like
been a
a
spider or
beetle.
a cockroach.
Yeah.
It could have been
a
anything. but
spider.
a
It would have
scorpion
been
was
more realistic
nuts.
if it was a
Oh,
spider.
a spider would have been
Yeah.
like a black widow
or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah,
Scorpion? Whose executive decision was that?
I'm not sure.
First off, they look like they're somewhere in upstate New York, and since when's there scorpions in upstate New York?
You know, it
I
says
don't
that
know.
some filming took place in Mexico City.
They were definitely
Not
not
New-
in Mexico.
I also didn't think they were in New York though.
I don't know. I was thinking as soon as I saw the scorpion, I was like, do they live in like Arizona or something like that? Where are these people? But yeah, somebody had the idea for a giant scorpion. And
That
I
was-
literally
that
ran
was
had
with it.
no
stretch.
inclination that there should be a scorpion in that scene.
Yeah.
So I agree.
So then I was mad about the scorpion, and I think at this point I was real silent. I was just on my couch like, huh?
So it's an
Like,
intense fight
what's
scene with
going
the
on?
scorpion
Yeah,
and Auntie.
and then,
It
and then,
really
I,
is
and then I
kinda
was
scary.
like, ant versus scorpion. Who's gonna win? Well, it was the scorpion because he stabbed that ant straight through the head.
Yeah.
Okay,
it was very
graphic,
intense.
and
It was
then
nuts.
I won't lie, I looked away
and
a
then
couple
poor
times 'cause
Ron
it
is
was so
like
hairy.
crying. He's like, oh no, his aunt friend. And the whole time I was thinking, I hope Addie didn't watch this and see the aunt die.
God.
She would have
That's
been like,
the only person that paid any
"Mom."
attention to poor Ron.
She literally would have been like, Mommy, Aunt died.
Oh no! Oh
Aunt.
no!
Tell me,
No, she didn't watch it.
Aunt.
Olivia did though, and Olivia was like,
Yeah, I did. That was the only scene where I was like, didn't need it. Not the scorpion.
Yeah, the
"Well,
scorpion
I
was
think the
intense.
scene, like you said, the scene was cool. I just,
Just
I,
not the
it's something
scorpion.
Else.
Well, if you want spiders, in the third movie, there's when they're shrunken, they encounter Daddy Longlegs.
Ain't nobody want a spider. I just don't want a scorpion.
I almost wonder if maybe they tried like a spider and couldn't get it right. They couldn't make it look good or something
Maybe.
like that. You know, that technology wasn't
Maybe
available.
they just
so
had a scorpion
Or
Harry
puppet.
like a
Potter and the
bird
Chamber of Secrets
or
Oh,
something.
But see, they're so small
I
that,
guess
that a
maybe it's-
bird it's
They're
over.
dead.
Yeah, it's
You're
way
right.
too
An
big.
ant and a bird is too big.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But ants is like this, you know, a rat or a bird, any
Or what
any
about
animal.
like an earthworm? And
It
it's
was so
like
sh-
They
shaking
did
the
go
ground.
into that earthworm thing, and I thought it was going to be in there. You know,
Yeah.
at one point in like the cave or something.
Okay,
like
well that's the next
Anywho.
scene. Okay, the next morning they're like kind of almost there, and they're like, "Dad, Dad," yelling because they can see him, but not quite. And then what happens? His little stupid dumb friend has to come and try to mow the lawn.
That's right.
Okay.
he
I
waits
had
till the next
forgotten
day.
about
So
that.
had
Me too.
I.
So when he came back, I was like, "Oh, we saw now."
It's so funny because like the Thompsons next door, they've been complaining about the yard. They keep looking over the fence and go like, "Oh my God, that yard is a terrible disaster of a
And
mess.
I like
The
that
grass is
Wayne's
so
always
long."
like, a
Because it's
lawn is
not
supposed
even-
to be lush, okay? I'm like, nah, bro, you lazy. You don't
Yeah,
know
you
mow
just
lawn.
you just
I
ain't
didn't
cleaned
think
it
it
up.
looks that bad.
It didn't look that bad.
No, it
honestly.
didn't look that bad. It could have, but they were just, I think, saying it so that way they could make the grass look tall for them. You know what I
No,
mean?
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly. It wasn't perfectly
Like if it
nice
was a
and neat.
short lawn, it wouldn't have been as cool, I guess.
Wouldn't have been quite as exciting. But yeah, they I think at one point during the nighttime, Big Russ, he's starting to get worried about his kids. Finally, it took him like 12 hours, but he's actually worried that they're missing. And so he's going out there. He's smoking cigarettes, even though he's supposed to have quit. And he like flicks a cigarette across the lawn, and
I
it
know, I
falls.
was like, they did.
It falls like right by the kids. I was like, oh no!
I was expecting like
A fire?
like a mini fire.
Yes, that's what I was thinking that was going to happen too. But I guess since the sprinklers had come on earlier,
They
the
could have
grass
gone
is
that
wet
route
enough.
if they had wanted to.
Yeah, but the kids find the cigarette. They get some secondhand smoke. I'm sure they all have cancer now. But they pull off some fire and make like little torches with it, which is
I like
which
how
is
the
cute.
kids were like the youngest kid was like, Dad was supposed to quit.
Yeah.
And he looks it up, he's like, that's Dad's brand. like, geez, you guys know a lot about your dad's smoking habits.
Yeah, well,
Gross.
Yeah, he was open about it at one point, I guess.
And at some point, and I don't know when the point is, and I don't mean to be rude, but the parents all bug me in this movie. Somehow they get together, and the mom is the Rick Moranis' wife is like, we need to tell them next door.
Yes.
Like, we need
No,
to
I think
tell
it's
them.
it's after the lawnmower scene. It's after the lawnmower.
It's not the next day, is it?
Yeah.
Did
It's
they
the
wait
next
till the
day
next
they
day?
tell 'em.
Because mom calls the cops. They both call the cops at the
it's
same
that
time when mom
day.
gets home. It's that evening.
It's that evening, yeah, because once Dad was like, "Well, no, they're out here," and then after the cop scene, then Mom was like, "We have to tell
So
the
they
other
tell
family."
them,
Yeah.
and like they're skeptical or what have you, but they're rightfully mad. The people next door, but at the same time, there's much less mania than I would be expecting.
right.
Like,
Because they
from
were just
hearing-
like, "Well, that's so crazy. I don't even believe it." Like,
Yeah.
would you believe it if some dude was like, "I shrunk your kids"?
And they deny it at first. They're like,
Right.
whatever, you're crazy, you're nuts. We're gonna go look for our kids. But then at some point, I think Big Russ and his wife, they're both like, well, maybe we'll stay off the lawn just in case, and we'll leave the light on just in case, so
Yeah.
that they can make their way to our porch as tiny little beings in
I
the
guess what I'm
backyard.
just saying, like, if I really thought that they were small, like, I would be outside all night long.
Right.
Like, I would not
Like
be
the
going
mom
back.
says, she's like, I'm not gonna sleep tonight.
Yeah, I
It's
wouldn't
just
like
not
go
happening.
back in the house and just be like,
Yeah, she
Well,
was looking.
Guess I'll maybe
and
look for my
Dad
kids
was
in the
trying
morning.
to fix the shrink ray. Like, that's what was going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we would have been doing that too.
Right.
So the next morning, Mom goes upstairs because Dad's asleep, like, on the shrink ray. And she's like, all right, come on. We got to get this thing working, whatnot. And they, like, hear the noise, and they're like, that sounds like, what is that? And
Oh, is that the lawnmower?
she's like, oh, it sounds like the lawnmower. And they're like, the lawnmower!
the
It's
backyard.
that little stupid kid. I think he was supposed to mow the lawn the day before, bro.
Right.
You real late.
Before
It's
any shrinking happened.
It's the next day.
So he's mowing the lawn
Another
with
war scene. All these look like war zone
yes,
scenes.
with
you
the
know?
remote control. He's just going in weird circles too. Nobody can do anything right in this, in this backyard.
shut up. If you had an RC lawnmower, you too would,
You
just
would be
doing
doing the
random
same thing.
stuff.
Well, yeah, that's true. I'd be doing donuts and stuff. But regardless, he goes out there. He's mowing the lawn, and the kids are
quote
hearing it.
unquote.
The kids are hearing it, and then I don't know if they see it in the distance or what, but they try to take refuge in this earthworm cave or whatever. And he mows the lawn right over
over the hole.
right over the hole, and then the parents get out there and they stop the lawnmower from moving anymore. It stops right there, and then the suction from the lawnmower starts pulling them out of the earthworm hole, which
Okay,
is
and
nuts.
all I could think at this point, babe, was remember when you were watching that YouTube video about the weed whacker thingy, and like they were seeing what it could cut through, like how fast it could go.
Right.
Do you remember that
Yes, it was
thing?
like the RPMs of a weed whacker, and they were like taking it up against a chain link fence and seeing
seeing,
what
like-
kind of damage it can do, and how the little
Andre watches weird
Plastic.
YouTube
how the
stuff.
tendrils, the plastic of the weed whacker was snapping
was
off.
like snapping things and like close-ups of it like snapping the grass
in
and
slow
stuff like
motion and
that.
stuff.
And so the whole time I was thinking like, oh, they did. Heck, it did.
I was thinking that too,
Nasty.
because so as the suction is pulling them up, they're able to turn the lawnmower off finally. But even still, it's still spinning and moving and pulling them up, and it pulls them up through the lawnmower and out of the side of the lawnmower, like where grass
Yeah.
is normally expelled. So they went through the spinning blades
Yeah, they did.
and all came out fine, but easily could have chopped up their tiny little itty bitty bodies. You know what I'm saying?
Luis is laughing, but it ain't funny.
Be a little funny.
A little funny.
So that was a pretty scary moment for me.
But it's
Don't
okay.
You have to laugh. Like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's like
You,
very uncomfortable.
So then they're like, "Ooh, the lawnmower's off. Let's go get some breakfast." Like weirdos.
Yeah.
So then the dog is right there, and luckily they grab onto the dog's fur, and the dog brings them inside to like
that was
where.
the only moment where I was like, that is so unrealistic. The fur when they grabbed onto it.
Yeah,
Yes.
It looks like yarn.
It was
Right.
like too wiry. Like,
But
it
other
didn't-
than that, everything else
Looked really
happy
good.
about. But
And-
go ahead.
so they get in there, right? And the dog puts them on the table. How does the dog get him on the table?
The dog jumps up on the table.
He jumps up onto the
Oh yeah,
table.
the dog jumps off the table, plops him, but then one kid gets plopped into the cereal, and that's the only thing I remember from this movie.
Oh.
Is the kid on the spoon and being like, "Oh, he's gonna get eaten."
You probably caught a marathon and you caught the end of this movie and jumped right into Honey, I Blew Up the Kids and Honey, We Shrunk
Maybe,
Ourselves.
but I remember the cereal because I remember thinking, "Oh no, we're gonna like be like Magic School Bus where they go inside a body."
Exactly what I thought.
I thought
Like
a second movie was
Osmosis
about
Jones.
to start,
I
right?
totally-
Osmosis Jones, isn't that movie where
Oh,
they're like
yeah.
in a body and the blood cells?
Yes, they are the white blood cells.
Yeah.
100% thought of that.
Yes, that's very
Wow, we're
But
such '90s
did-
kids.
Did Luis, did Adeline see this part of the movie?
with the
cereal?
cereal.
I don't think she saw any of it.
Okay, I didn't think so either, but this morning at breakfast, we're sitting and we're eating our cereal, and she's finally graduated to cereal in a bowl with the milk.
Okay.
And she can eat it like a normal person, right?
Okay.
So we're sitting there eating, and Olivia's just like smacking her Cheerios around, and Addie's looking at her bowl, and she picks up her spoon and she goes, "Mommy and Daddy and Sissy and Boyo and Gammy and Mimi," and she's like looking at the Cheerios. And
What?
And I'm like, "Did she see this movie?" And she goes, "Me eat them all." And she put it in her mouth, and I was like, "Did she like? Why would she be saying that if she didn't see the movie?" But then I thought to myself, she didn't see the movie because we watched it after they went to bed.
She's
Right.
just naming her cereal.
Yeah,
She's
she's
naming
just
her Cheerios.
assigning names to the Cheerios. Names
then
she
eating
knows,
them.
and then
Me
chomping them
eat
down.
them
Me eat
all.
And that was this
all.
morning, and I was like, "What the heck?" Anywho, so
Dang, I can't wait to have a kid,
That's
man.
very
That's so
funny.
good.
it was
Yeah.
very funny.
So Nick falls.
Also
in-
kind of creepy. I love it.
So Nick
Kids are
falls
weird.
into the cereal bowl, right? So he's swimming around in the milk. He's very small, too small to really see if you're just eating cereal straight up. He's itty bitty.
Well, I'm not staring at my cereal like that, and
Right.
you know,
And Rick Moranis, he's just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but my kids are gone. Oh no,
my
dear.
shrink
He's
ray.
taking bites.
And then he was like, they would just be right there in front of you if you just look hard enough. I'm like, yeah, bro, look at your cereal.
So the other kids are on the table. They're trying to scream. And he can't hear them or whatever. And then
So the dog bites his
yeah,
leg. He's
Court
like, you ain't
comes
eating
in
him.
just as he's picked up Nick into his spoon, and he bites his leg, and then he doesn't drop the spoon. He just
he's
he
just
just
like,
doesn't put it
"Ah."
in his mouth.
Yeah.
And then he finally takes a real close look through his glasses and sees that.
It very nonchalantly is like,
Oh.
hey, Nick.
Oh, Nick, you're right there. What's up,
I'm
bitch?
like, really? Are you serious?
Like,
You almost
what?
ate your son.
Yeah, I'd probably freak out and
drop
Throw it.
accidentally kill
Yeah,
him. Like,
yeah.
oh, Nick, and just shake that spoon.
That would
So
have been a good
good.
ending. Like he fell to the
Flings him into the sink or whatever.
No, the
ceiling
garbage
fan, catches
disposal.
on.
Yeah. So he sees that the kids are there, and then they go back up to the attic. They bring the Thompsons over. They're like, all right, well, I think we can get this thing to work again with the baseball, I guess, or whatever. And but I need a real live test subject, otherwise I'm just gonna keep blowing up apples. And so he grabs Big Russ, and he's like, you could be the test subject. Or no, he volunteers.
volunteers.
He volunteers himself. He's become a good character by this point in the movie. I guess. So he
Luis
goes.
was trying to vouch for him, and I was like, "No, I'm just disgusted."
I mean, he was definitely,
A mad scientist.
no, I'm talking about Big Russ. He was
Oh.
definitely like doing dad mode stuff, but for the most part it was
As soon as he told
bad.
this kid he had to pump some iron, I was like, get out of here. What are you doing?
I mean, he's kind of trying, but
Not well enough.
Yeah, he's not
well
doing the
enough.
most.
He's definitely being a d-bag. for
Right,
sure.
exactly. When the cops are over their house and the cops like, okay, whatever, your kids are missing. They definitely ran away from you because you crazy. And he's like, I don't like your tone.
The wife is like,
She's like, I agree with the cops. And so by now he's being a good guy, and he's like, test the machine on me. I can take it. They shrink him down. He's shrunk and he didn't blow up. And then, I think at one point they say before they shrink him, they're like, wait, this thing shrunk our kids? And he's like, yeah, it works now. Before I was just blowing up apples. It's like, they're like, blowing up? How do you know that they didn't get blown up? He's like, if it blew them up, there'd be pieces of them all over the attic.
Oh my gosh.
I like that line a lot.
Oh, I didn't that makes sense. I was when he said it, I thought there would be mini pieces of them all over the place.
Oh,
like
no, they'd be regular
little-
size pieces.
Like regular size, disgusting.
Because it's just
pieces.
a straight up laser.
Right. That makes more sense now. Because in my head, I was thinking there's be tiny pieces. I'm like, how would he find the tiny pieces?
Right,
That's
yeah.
stupid.
No,
Oh, no.
like
No,
when
no, no.
They would be a
bigger.
murder scene.
Fully
Yeah.
human-sized chunks of children.
Ew.
Yeah, in the attic. So he shrinks
that's
him.
disgusting.
He shrinks him down, and then he reverses.
I guess it's reassuring, but it's also disgusting.
Yes. Then he reverses the machine and blows him back up to regular size. But when he puts his hat back on, the hat is just slightly oversized. So he didn't shrink him back to full size.
Which is hilarious.
Yes.
That was a good little touch.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I don't know why, but just the fact that he's just a little bit smaller is like good revenge on this dude for the entire movie.
Especially because the subtitles call him Big Russ. So it's like slightly smaller
What's up, Big Russ? Yeah,
Slightly
yeah.
less big Russ.
Medium Russ.
Medium Russ.
So then he resizes the kids, and it's basically happily ever after from here. We show Thanksgiving, which I assume is a couple months later, and he's fully sized up a turkey.
Dude,
and
that was hilarious.
And then Amy and Russell are making Google eyes at each other from across the table. They're playing footsie underneath. And then you see that Quark also has a gigantic size treat for his
He's got a
Thanksgiving
big old milk bone.
dinner. Yeah. So this dude has solved world hunger, and he's
But
awesome.
obviously is not solving world hunger.
Yeah, I mean, by the next movie, I don't think that's a plot point at all. That the machine is working and can feed the hungry or the poor or anything like that. But that's the end of the movie, and I think I liked it.
It was good.
You know?
I enjoyed it. Let's hear monies and
Yes, there were some
and ratings
some
and things.
shmoneys. Let's see here. This movie had a budget of $18 million, and it had a box office return of $222 million.
Well, there you go.
So this is a gigantic success for Disney.
I mean, they got over 200 million back on that, so that's pretty legitimate.
Yeah, it opened at number 2 in the United States behind Batman.
Which
that,
Batman?
the first Batman with Michael Keaton
Oh.
and Jack Nicholson in 1989.
I don't think I've ever seen that version.
Really?
Mm-mm.
I just watched another animated movie with Michael Keaton in it, and I was just thinking of him as Batman the entire time.
Pretty much every time I see Michael Keaton, I just think of him because of his reprised. Well, it's not a reprise, I guess, but in
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, yeah.
Yes, it's the villain. The
He's
Vulture.
so villainous.
The villain.
The villain. Yeah, Michael Keaton is awesome. But yeah, this movie came up right behind Batman, and it has on Rotten Tomatoes a 76%.
Oh.
All right.
It only has a 54% audience score, though. The critics' consensus is that, let me get that ad out of the way, even as its special effects take center stage, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids still offers a charming, high-spirited sense of adventure for the whole family.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Indeed. Agreed.
All right. I kind of agree with that critic consensus.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and give our ratings, Louise.
Louis.
I'll give it a solid 7.5. It
Mm,
was a fun movie.
yeah.
Rick Moranis is a moron, but
Yeah, he's one of those genius morons.
We don't disagree.
yeah.
Very good.
Indeed.
Andre.
I think I'm also gonna give this movie a 7.5. It's like really middle of the road in a good way, where it's a really fun movie, and I'm telling when the kids are small, it's super fun.
But there's some slow points.
Yeah, there are some slow points, and I think that might just be a little bit due to its age, and I'm remembering it moving faster. But I think once again, I'm thinking of the sequels to this movie. But it's super fun. The soundtrack or the score is good, and I like all the performances. All the kids are fun too.
The music reminded me of an amalgamation again of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
Because of the
I was going to say Beetlejuice.
well, it's funny that you say that. That and what was the other one I said? Louise, what did I say?
Indiana Jones.
That's not Beetlejuice?
No, well, that's this one. I can't remember what the other one I thought was, but it's that saxophony.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a part in Nightmare Before Christmas, but it also has a very, maybe it is Beetlejuice that I'm thinking of. I just haven't seen that movie in so long. It's, well, and it's kind of Ghostbusteries too.
Right, yeah, a little bit. So the music was done by...
Oh, no, I said, dun, 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 what's that? Doc Brown.
Oh, Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
Ah,
It reminds me of that too.
The music was done by Mr. James Horner, who you know from
Who sat in the corner?
doing The Mask of Zorro, Avatar, and Titanic? Is that true?
Avatar.
Oh, wait, that says music department. Let's see. The composer, he did Deep Impact. He did The Mask of Zorro. He did Mighty Joe Young. Man, he's done a lot of
Mighty Joe
He
Young.
did Jumanji and Apollo 13 and Casper.
Okay,
He's
he
done
did a
he's done a
lot.
bunch of stuff. We're Back, A Dinosaur Story. That movie is tight. But no, I don't think he did Back to the Future. Did he?
It's just
Interesting.
it's certain pieces, like little like snippets of the score reminded me of different places.
Yeah.
He did An American Tail. He did The Great Mouse Detective. Wow, this dude has done a bunch of stuff. Holy moly.
Well, Emily, what are you going to rate it?
I'm gonna give it a 7.5 as well. I think that it was solid. It was so much better than I was expecting. I was expecting to not like it.
Right.
Because I'm sorry I don't like Rick Moranis. Like, it just, no. But I just didn't like, I just feel like the kids did a much better job than the parents did.
For
like,
sure.
Like
Okay.
acting-wise.
Yeah.
That's why I need you to see the third one. I'm about to put it on after this. I'm real
Can we
upset.
watch the second one? Not the...
We can.
In order.
Okay.
But I just didn't dig the parents. I thought that it was just a very uncompelling performance.
Right.
But the movie was fun. And it
Yes.
had some really, really cool sets. I
yeah.
really appreciate
Yeah, the production design on this movie is off the charts.
Very
for
nice.
sure.
I'm also going to give this movie a 7.5.
Ooh.
Don't
Well-
really have a reason why other than it was a good, solid movie, and I liked it, but it wasn't what I wanted. I'm a little bitter,
You wanted Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
and I don't want to watch a second one. I
Honey,
want to
We
watch
Blew
a
Up the
third one.
Yeah, the sequels are crazy.
They're really good. You would like the sequels.
Yeah.
They're really
The
good.
Honey is-
Have you seen the sequels as an adult?
No.
I have not.
But if I liked this one as an adult, okay. I think if I thought those were better than this, that they might hold up.
That's true. I
The
will
third
say
one for sure will.
I will say that the first two were released in theaters because this first one did so well in theaters, but the second one didn't do quite as well. And so the third one is a direct-to-home video movie.
And it's the best one.
It's only an hour and 15 minutes.
It's short,
I'm
yeah.
about that.
It's the
very
best one. We're
interesting.
watching it.
There's
Okay.
nothing better than a
Okay.
90-minute movie.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Also, it's very interesting that we watched this movie with Rick Moranis because the next movie we're doing,
Don't tell me he's in it.
no, he's not. It has a similar kind of technology, mad scientist,
That's true. It's-
inventor kind of vibe,
Yeah.
just in a different way.
An eccentric guy. Our next film, next week, we will be talking about the 1997 live-action film Flubber.
Flubber with
starring
Robin Williams.
Ho-ho. Yes.
Luis, are
Emily,
you excited
Emily's
about
also
this?
probably not too excited about
No, I'm not excited about this. Luis, are you excited about this?
I think I've turned that movie on one time and turned it off immediately.
It's good.
It's interesting. It's
Here's
like a Robin Williams touchdown.
It's
for me,
another
I
movie
think.
I watched all the time. These are all these movies I picked are ones that I kind of grew up with.
This is
So-
kind of nice for me, though, to watch movies that I never wanted to watch and find them surprisingly good, because then
Yeah.
I'm having, better than expected results.
Yeah, yeah.
Versus, when
Yeah.
you go back and you watch something and you're like, it's so good, and then you're like,
Yeah, I
"Aw,
never want to
man."
watch Smart House again.
No,
I'm done
like,
with that
Right.
movie.
it's not as good as I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe Emily needs a movie mayhem month, and
No, but what if
Andre-
they all suck? Then I'm gonna be upset.
Hey, I'm just happy I didn't let y'all down. So let's get this flubber going, and hopefully it's good. Okay,
Is this the last of your mayhem?
it is.
Yes, I
because I
believe
wanted
so.
to do Jumanji, but that's not Disney.
No. It's
But that was
Wow.
my number one childhood movie.
See, I didn't like the
Jumanji.
original.
Oh,
really?
I was
The new one
obsessed.
Are you
is
just
on
not a
another
Robin
level.
Williams fan?
That may have been the only.
Are you not a
movie-
Robin Williams fan though? Because I love Robin Williams.
I prefer his. All due respect to him, I prefer his comedy than his movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And-
no,
Oh, like
I'm-
the stand-up?
I'm very
Stand-up.
similar in that way.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That makes sense.
And
I think I grew up on a lot of Robin Williams
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
the
so I
best
like
one, in
love
my
him.
opinion, was Jumanji.
I love Jumanji.
yeah,
Oh,
I
I like
didn't-
Jumanji a lot too.
I think I'm gonna get
I think you'll be okay
hate
with
mail by saying I don't like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh,
I mean,
dude.
you don't have to get
And-
hate mail.
Sapphire
There's
is
a lot of
awesome.
things that other people like I don't like. You know what I mean? But
I
I love
just-
Mrs. Doubt. I love Robin Williams, though.
I'm just trying to wonder.
But he
I'm
also
wondering if
has-
you'll like Flubber then. I think there's still
You know what
some
I
good
can
stuff
compare
about
it to is that for the longest time, I didn't like anything that Will Ferrell was in. I thought he was so stupid. I
Yeah.
didn't like his comedy style. I hated the movie Elf, especially because everybody else
What?
loved
Really?
it. It took me a long time to get into Will Ferrell. I love him now. Like he's cool. I put up with him, and
He's
I like.
cool.
He's cool.
I like it. I like Elf now. It's okay. You know what I mean? But maybe that's how you
Well,
feel.
that's how I felt
about
about
Robin
Samuel L.
Williams.
Jackson. Like when he was,
Really?
Really?
he was, yeah, when he's in Marvel stuff, I'm like, oh god,
Here we
Samuel
go.
L. Jackson. Here we
Yeah.
go.
Everybody's
anywho.
everybody's got some people like that, but I think the storyline
Luis
of
has
Flubber.
Sandra Bullock and what's the other one? It's a normal person that you don't like. The other girl,
I don't like Sandra Bullock or Julia Roberts.
Julia
Julia
Roberts.
Roberts.
Who doesn't like Julia Roberts?
Yeah, she's great, man.
Yeah. we won't hate mail him too if we just said we won't hate mail each other. But I think you'll like this.
Sigourney
I think
Weaver?
you'll like the storyline
Stuff.
of
I actually
Flubber.
like
So
Sigourney
I'm excited.
Weaver over them. So
Oh yeah, I think.
even though
Sigourney
you
Weaver's
don't
better.
trust her in anything.
Bug juice. There was bugs in this movie that we watched. It's done.
All right.
Okay, that was
Thank
the
you.
outro. I guess.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hi, Louis said, "Wow, nice."
No, I
Nice.
said what?
Oh,
Wow.
I'll still
Yeah.
take it.
With
What?
no T.
Indeed. All right, you guys. So next week we'll be doing Flubber. Check us out then for that.
Flubs.
The Flubs.
Flurbers.
Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast on whatever podcast platform you're listening
Flurbers.
on. Hit that subscribe button. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That'd be nice. Those reviews help us get seen by more people. So just go there, hit that 5 stars, and let us know what you think of the pod.
I mean, you could do 4 stars.
I guess if you wanted to be petty and mean, but do whatever you feel right.
Oh my god.
Do that. Leave us a review. Subscribe. Hit us up on YouTube. You can leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. Go to our Instagram. We are at the Walt Pod. You can leave a comment on the post there. Let us know what you thought of the movie. Oh, I think we had a Patreon suggestion. Actually, you can go
Oh.
to patreon.com/thewaltvault and leave your
What was it?
suggestions for us. This one was from Michael, our good friend. Over
Oh
at
no,
Hakuna
Michael!
Matane.
Mike, you don't let us down. What did he
And,
suggest?
He suggested. He said. I actually don't have the full comment here, but
Well, what the heck, Andre?
the suggestion itself was for High School Musical.
Oh, good God.
That's what he wants us to watch. This is one of our
Have you
patrons.
not heard my rant on how I do not want to watch this, Michael? I really like you, but
But could we not, please?
There was one time where I made Andre watch it, and he didn't like it. But I'll watch it. I'm about it.
Oh yeah, you made me
Luis,
watch
what
all
do
of
you
them.
think?
Nope.
Nope.
So we'll see if that ever happens.
One against 3, so I think we got outvoted there,
yeah,
Michael.
I suppose.
Hey, you know what? One day it's going to happen, though, because we are going to be like, well,
One day we will run out of movies. So,
we did Descendants, right? So
Yes, we did.
but thank you for the suggestion. Head over to patreon.com/thewaltvault and
we love suggestions.
sign up. Yes, let us know what you want us to watch, because otherwise we're just gonna keep doing the movies we want to watch. You know what I mean?
Yada I mean.
We haven't done a vote in a really long time.
Yeah,
That's
maybe
true.
we should.
Yeah,
Maybe it
We used
should.
to, what did we used to do that like once a month?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Back in the day when there was a lot of classic movies available.
That we had
We
left.
still haven't done Bambi.
Yeah,
We probably never will.
Well, we did Fox and the Hannah West. Said we're never doing that.
that's
Yeah.
true. That's true. Anything's possible.
Bambi,
you know?
High School Musical, or Zorro. I don't know.
Zorro.
Isn't Zorro Disney?
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
It actually
I'm
might
not
be.
sure, but
Think
Is Old Yeller?
the Old Yeller
yeah,
is.
it
yes.
is.
That's a never.
Ooh, I almost said a bad word. We ain't doing that.
Thank you. A
We
bad
ain't never
word.
doing that. Ain't never.
Yes.
You're never,
So
never gonna watch it.
hit us up on
Yeah,
Patreon.
no,
We've got
no,
extra
no.
content
Michelle's
there.
on a freaking one. We
I
need to get
see.
out of this
We need to
episode.
keep going. Send an email to contact@thewaltvaultpod.com. We'll read your message on the show. You can leave your suggestions there if you want. And that's it. Goodness gracious, everybody's talking. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you. We love you. We'll see you next week for some flubber goodness. The vault is now closed.
Oh, my name.